Okay, I already showed you the eyedropper tool. That's what, and this is a really good tool too. Say, for example, like I have done this before where I'm creating something in one window and I need to go to a different window and I need this color. So I'll copy and paste this color over because sometimes the swatch libraries don't transfer. So say I have this and this is yellow and I want to make it red and I drop it. As long as it's selected and I drop it, this, I drop to this, easy, okay? Eyedropper tool is a great tool to use. All right, you have any questions? I know I'm just talking.
No, I think I'm good
Okay,
for
good.
now.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
All right, this tool, oh, this is really cool. I've never used this one before, but I did look at it a little bit yesterday. So say I have these lines. Again, I'll go up here to change my stroke down here. Make this bigger. And this does something so interesting. It can make this part wider and this part just by holding on to the little point. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. All right, let's keep this shape and then we'll do this, which is really, this is really cool tool. Hold on. If you have two objects and you see what it does, it makes this really neat. Watch, I'll show you. Let's change it to, let's go to swatches, go here, here, and then click here. So I just made a circle. And it does this really, hopefully it'll do it. Oh, you know what? It's not a shape. I'm gonna do shape to shape. All right. So you see what it did? It made this, it did this for me instead of creating something, which can be really cool, especially if you have letters, for example, and you want to make them look like they're stretched in a design that you have set. So that's a really neat tool. This tool is, oh, you're changing your artboard. Okay, so for example, say that my artboard now is a 10 by 10. And say I want to see the size of my artboard and where it is. Like, for example, if I'm making a 10 by 10 flyer, for example, and I wanted to know where the middle was, you want to do Control R for ruler and it pops up a ruler, which is a great tool because when you're trying to do something, a lot of times in Illustrator, you're doing something really precise. And you want to know where things are and you can bring guidelines out. So if I just take my cursor here, hold and pull, it gives me a guideline. So say I want a guideline right at 5 inches and then another one right at 5 inches. So this is the center of my page. This is great when you're designing, right? So if you just want to have things in different quadrants or whatever you're working with, it's a great tool. I use it a lot. So anyway, and if you want to say like you have all, like sometimes you'll design something and it has all these different points because you want it to line up all these different things and oops, it keeps coming off. And you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to get rid of this. You do Control semicolon and it deletes it. So you don't have to look at them. They come back and on. So Control semicolon, which is really good.
Okay, so control R is pulling up the
Rulers.
ruler.
Yeah, it's
And then
easy.
how did you do the line?
Control semicolon. Control semicolon.
But how did you like mark
Oh,
the
how did I pull it? Oh, sorry, hon. You, if you're anywhere in the dark gray area of the ruler, you click, and right now I'm holding it, my mouse down, the button on my mouse, and then I'm pulling it over, and that's how you get it precise.
okay.
Yeah. And you can
Okay.
do as many as you want, but they're very helpful because sometimes you want to line up a word with another word, and
Yeah.
you want to make sure it's exactly, of course I didn't shift that, but you want to make sure it's exactly in line. And this is so helpful because you can be as precise as possible. And sometimes as a designer, I really like having that ability to be very, especially when you're creating something. You want to be as
Mhm.
precise as possible, and you can zoom in and make sure, and you can literally get it to so precise. So you get it. You get the point.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's really good when you're trying to make sure things are lined up. Okay. All right. And this is
Mhm.
just what I did, which was um, just the magnifying glass. So I can zoom, 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 control 0 if I need to get back and see the whole thing. Okay. Easy. All right. So that's a quick overview of tools, but now you sort of get the layout, right? Like sometimes these programs are intimidating, but once you get in, you're like, that's easy. Like once you see it, it always helps me when I'm learning just to get in there.
Mhm.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of other things, like if you have links to objects, libraries, there's so much in here. Sorry about that. There's so much in here that I do encourage you to look at it, yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, we've been on for an hour. Okay, let's get into some fun things, like seeing how things like really work. That's a basic layout. Play around with it. Also, let me show you this. These three dots here, girl, there are so many more tools. I'm going to click on them. There are
Oh
this
no.
many more tools. Yeah, we're not going to go through them. I just encourage you to play around with them. Just,
Mhm.
if you want to bring it over to, like you're saying, oh, I use this all the time, which these are really secondary tools. You probably won't use them all the time. But if you want to, you click and hold it. And you can bring it right over to your main toolbox. That's a good thing to say, toolbox. And then you can use it anytime you want. Okay. But
Mhm.
I'm not going to go over them. You can just play around with them. But if you ever want to know, you can bring them over and look, see how that's really neat. It's like you have like a little design that you
Yeah.
want, and this little spray paint tool will do it for you without having for you to create every single thing. You see? So if there's any
Uh-huh.
tool that you want to say, I wonder what that does, you just click on this, you drag it over to your toolbox, you click off of it, and you just let your mouse stay over it, and it'll show you what it does.
Mhm.
This
I
one
feel
does.
like I feel like Adobe used to not I don't know that that little preview of the tool used to not exist.
It didn't. It
Okay.
didn't. They've made
That
this so helpful, right?
yeah, I'm like, thank you. Because what are the odds that you're gonna remember, all of
Yeah,
them?
it's 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 I mean, I'm not gonna say it's impossible. I know that there are Illustrator experts out there who know everything, but for
Yeah,
the most people and most designers, you just don't, because you don't if you don't use them, you're not gonna, unless you need it, is that's when you're gonna look it up. So anyway,
totally.
but I think that's great, and they're making it easier for people to design and learn, which I love. I just think whoever
Mhm.
made these programs are straight up geniuses. Okay, let's get it. All right, so
Wait, sorry, Leah.
yeah,
One question.
yeah.
Pathfinder, where was it that you found the Pathfinder? It was in Window?
It's
No.
here in the window. You can go up to window and down
Mhm.
Pathfinder. And again,
And
play
what
with
are
these.
all of those?
These are
Well,
so
okay,
cool.
I know that we don't have time to get into all of those, but all of
Okay.
the options there in Window, what are those? Like those are
Oh,
just like
okay.
other panels.
Yes. Okay. So I'll just read through them, and then you can you can go in and look. I mean, we could spend like hours and hours, and I don't know
Yeah.
what everything is either. I want to be clear. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm this expert. I'm not. But 3D and materials actions align. 3D and materials. Let's click on it. So there's ways, I guess, to make things that are 3D. So let's say extrude. Oh, okay. So you can play around with that and make that. You see how that oval turned into a 3D thing? Um, oh wow, look at that. That is so cool. Okay, you see what happened? The oval turned
Oh,
into like
yeah.
a little donut. Isn't that
That's
cool?
funny.
Yeah, inflate. I didn't really do a whole lot, but that revolve thing is pretty neat. Um, oh, oh, cool. You can make some really neat things. You know what I mean? Really cool logos and different things like that. So
Wow. Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And all you did
So,
was draw a circle, like an oval.
right, right. Um,
But so basically, like all of those options are just like, because they're not more tools. It's more like, or would you say that there are just more tools?
no, no, there are more options. Okay, for example, actions. This shows me I think all of the actions that we've recently done.
Oh, okay. And you can like go back.
Um, yeah, align is a tool, it's a more extensive tool. And this is like if you have, I think I showed you a little bit. Let's say you have two circles that you want and you want their middle points to line up. So you click that so you don't have to try to figure out where this is and draw rulers. It does it for you.
Mm-hmm.
This, for example, this is really great with text. Um, let me see. I'm gonna get a simpler look at text here. And all right, so for example, when you have text, this is such a good tool. So yeah, you can align them in the middle and say I'm like trying to create when I have like you have two words in a logo, but you want them aligned, you can put them here and make sure that their center points line up. If you want to line it up on the bottom, that's all these different things are under align, okay? I mean, it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. And Pathfinder is really, this is one of my favorite tools. I showed you how to combine, but say, so this tool and this tool, these two circles, for example, say I just really want that middle area, the middle area here. Then if you
Mm-hmm.
do on Pathfinder, you do divide, you click divide, and now I have this area I can pull out, and that can be a really cool thing. So a lot of these, to answer your question, a lot of these are tools. They're either more extensive, um, little, like when I clicked on Pathfinder, for example, more options come up for the tool here. Or it could be something like it's an action or character. It's a tab, but it means the tab can do a lot of different things. Okay. So
Yeah.
asset export, drag artwork to this panel to generate multiple assets. Each group is added as an asset. Like I've never used that. Attributes. Um, okay, so the attributes are just telling you what is going on whenever you click on something. It shows that's a field object. So you're just learning about the attributes, and which is good. Say for example, somebody sends you something, right? A logo. You can find out more information about it based on looking in some of these some of these menus to figure out what in the heck did they do, how did they create it, how did they um, get it to look like they did, which is really cool because sometimes you can download a
Really?
template. And you can find out your attributes here, your brushes, different brushes, and you can download different brush options, color, which we already saw, color guide. Here are the different shades. Say sometimes you have a color, and then you want to see the different shades without trying to create the shades yourself. Here they are. Um, comments, I guess, if you're working on a project and you want to leave comments. Sorry, I didn't close that so quickly. And you want to leave comments for the next designer, you could probably click here. You can save to Creative Cloud. So it's just like not all of them
Wow.
are tools, but there are different things that's possible. CSS properties, I'm not really sure what that is. Oh, it looks like something with coding, CSS. So this might help with
Mm-hmm.
coding if you're doing something on a web, which is great.
Wow. Yeah.
Document
So
info,
they're
yeah,
like menus, because
there are
every time you
menus.
select one, I see that they're all like they're all you're like selecting what you want your window to which menus to display at the
Yeah,
same time and like which ones you wanna. Okay. Yeah,
exactly.
there's so many, so
There's so
many
many. And
options there.
document, I know, exactly. There's a ton. I just really, truly, I just showed you basics. Document info, I popped that one up, and that was great because it says my document's untitled. It tells me the color mode, which is really good, can be helpful when you're receiving something and you're trying to duplicate it or whatever. You can see it's in CMYK, not RGB, that helps. Artboard dimensions, all of that, excellent information. Gradient, which we already played around with gradient, graphic styles. Oh, this is good. I think, or no, that's glyphs. Sometimes you have a font that, I'm sure you've seen where you have fonts that there's different ways that like if it's a script E, there might be 4 different script E's that you can use. That might be in graphic styles, or that might be in glyphs. I'm not sure under type. But anyway, graphic styles, I'm not really sure what that is exactly. Oh, okay, that's neat. Do you see what happened? I just clicked
Oh
on it
yeah.
and it filled my text. So, and I'm almost positive you can download different graphic styles people have already created, and you can just download them into your library. There's so much out there. History, it just shows you the different things you've done and how you've created them over the time I've been playing around in Illustrator. Okay.
Mhm.
Image trace, which we're going to get into, which is one of my favorite things. We're going to get into that on an example. Info, it's just showing my X and Y coordinates, CMYK numbers, width and height. Must be of whatever I'm creating. Links, magic wand is a really good one. We can get into that. So yeah, does that help?
Got it.
I can go over it, but
Yeah. Yeah. So that helps.
yeah,
And
okay.
sorry, the only other question I had is when you showed me how to make it into outlines,
Yeah,
where was that?
sure. That is, I'll just use this, make this big. That is type. You have to make sure make sure everything's selected, type, and then create
Type.
outlines.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm
when you
just
do that,
taking notes on like those key things.
yeah. And when you have that outline, I think we talked about it before now, if I wanted to just highlight the L, I would have to just do this and highlight the L. And I can move things with the L, which is really neat because you can do some cool things with one letter in your whatever you're working with.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like it's really honestly your brain is the limit. The sky's the limit, and whatever the Lord gives you, he gives you such creative ideas and you just create them. So